The situation in Cincinnati is spiraling rapidly out of control. For many of you who don't know yet, or many of you probably have seen the video of a group of future scientists and engineers at 3 a.m. in the morning out on the town targeting what appeared to be one white man and then a white woman who dared try to help the man after he got pummeled. The excuses are flying. They're actually trying to pull one of these people said something about, they said the word, the word that justifies whatever behavior, some people want to have because of a word. The police chief came out and said, people on social media are big bad. And then yet another excuse that they were the victims of being overserved. Now, as a expert in being overserved, I happen to know as a fact that this is nearly impossible. But it's just, there's a certain group of people who get every excuse made for them in the planet. Leave a like on the video if your fatigue levels are reaching near peak. Also, a city councilwoman in Cincinnati said that these people deserved it. All that in this video. Fatigue, one of the most aggressive members of the mob that attacked and almost took a male tourist's life and a single mother after Cincinnati Jazz Festival, was released on a $400 bond. Police chief claims he was the victim of the bartender who simply served him too much alcohol. Now, I have definitely had too much alcohol many times in my life. And in 0 of those instances have I decided to ruthlessly pummel somebody just walking down the street. It's very weird. In none of those instances, and you guys know, I like to do my drinking. Absolutely no scenarios have I ruthlessly pummeled somebody for no reason. Okay. This is not an alcohol problem. All right. The police chief, Cherry Fatigue, also justified the release of the ringleader of this mob that did this because it was a bartender that overserved him.
I, like many, woke up Saturday morning to the video.
This is the police chief that decided to do that, by the way. This is just in your left ear for people who think they're going crazy.
The incident occurred. We got our first call at 3:06 a.m. First officers were on the scene at 3:12 a.m. Based on the body cam footage that I've watched, that response time is completely acceptable because the downtown area still had traffic congestion from all of the events.
At 3 a.m.? The baseball game that you were talking about was over at what, 10? So what are you talking about? 3 a.m. in the morning?
Upon arrival, the fight was over with. The fight was over with when the officers arrived.
So they did nothing.
And the majority of the participants were gone.
Great.
The officers did exactly what they are trained to do.
What?
They gathered information from the victims that were still at the scene.
Okay.
To complete an offense report.
Good. Congratulations.
I will tell you, at this time, we have victims and suspects identified, and we have charged 5 people in this offense.
Good.
I'm not going to release that information to you.
Oh, thanks.
I will say, if individuals were down there and participated in this event, it would be in their best interest.
Hold on.
Anyone who put their hands on another individual during this incident in an attempt to cause harm will face consequences.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I
$400
don't
bail
care
is
which
probably
side
pretty
of the
tough.
incident or this is still an open investigation.
Where is this?
It is clear to us that alcohol played a part,
Oh,
a
here.
significant part in this incident.
So that doesn't, so what?
I want to thank every citizen who has come forward and provided us with information. Some of those tips have led to the charges being signed. And for us,
Alcohol is not an excuse. Now, here is a video, apparently, of this individual perhaps starting the fight. We see a slap being issued here. I don't know exactly what's going on. Is this what started, but the fatigue finished? I'm not really sure. He was also let out on felony weapons charges just 2 weeks ago. This exact same person that was laying the beat down, okay, was on felony weapons charges just 2 weeks ago, also let out on bond. This bond stuff is nonsense. People need to go and sit in jail. They are not allowed. Like they are attacking people. By the way, you know, so we talked about this. He had 400. He also had a weapons charge. He was in jail just 2 weeks ago. Now you had 3 arrested for the brawl that happened, which is good. Because let's say even that guy, if that guy did start it with a slap, if the other guy had slapped him back or whatever, and that's where it ended, I would say he got what was coming to him. You know, but it does not justify the other 20 people joining in, and it doesn't justify them pummeling this woman who's just trying to help the guy get up. Merriweather was a catalyst, which was a coordinated attack. The detective claimed that Merriweather came up behind the victim and hit him in the side of the face, kind of like an ambush. Police also shared in court that they have more video from camera monitored on the building outside the building, allegedly shows Merriweather's and Matthews chasing the victim to get him on the ground and punch and kick him. Wait a minute, I thought what happened to he started it? Court documents show that these two bonded out earlier this month after he was arrested on a weapons charge just 2 weeks ago. Prosecutors did ask for a high bond. He was given a total of $500,000 secured bond on charges. Matthews' defense attorney, Brandon Fox, said he had been present in court and that the social media is not all the evidence. I don't really care, again, what happened before that. I don't care what happened before that. None of it justified. Of course, the New York Post says, you know, one witness told WXIX somebody made a racial comment before the beating began, though those reports are unconfirmed. This is the excuse that Democrats and those in that subsect of that community, and I'm not talking about all black people. I'm talking about those that would justify these attacks, you know, because somebody said a word. There are no words that get to justify these beatdowns. There are no words that justify justify putting your hands on somebody. But this is a societal problem. This is a major issue. Here is a Cincinnati council member saying she is grateful to the mob who attacked white tourists on the street. Something is very wrong in Cincinnati. The council member is also the president pro term who championed declaring racism as a public health crisis, and Juneteenth is a paid holiday. This seems like blatant racism at a high level. Here is Victoria Parks. They begged for that beatdown, and I'm grateful for the whole story. Aren't you on the city council and you make a statement like this? This woman who was punched didn't ask for this. By the way, single mom. And she's the president pro term. The president of the city council has said she deserved it, and I'm thankful for the story. This is why people are fatigued, and black people are fatigued too, by the way. I don't think white people came up with the term YNs. I don't know, but I think that's a term that the black community came up with to describe basically young African Americans who are always, wilding out, as they say. Did I say that right? Wilding out. That are taking part in these mob beatings, that are taking part in these, lootings, that are taking part in these shoplifting events. I swear my dog was not raised that way. I just happened to say it, and then he started barking. It's unrelated, I think. I don't have any problem with black folks. And it seems like more and more black folks, in that community are speaking out against this behavior. But when you have people justifying it, a black city council member saying, hey, this is cool. I'm happy this happened. You're never going to fix this. When you have white liberal policemen saying that people on social media are the real victims or the real people who are bad here, I don't understand how this ever gets better. You know what I mean? It's not going to get better when, and by the way, enough women in police. I think that there are jobs women can do in the police department. But here, Matt Walsh says, I said women shouldn't be on patrol or leading police departments. And I'm getting a bunch of people crying about it in the comments, but privately I'm getting messages like this from actual police officers. 2 decades on patrol, undercover search warrants, kicking doors, felony takedowns, all in the bad parts of Nashville, and you're 100% right. Thanks for saying what we aren't allowed to. A female keying up as a backup officer on the radio doesn't count, and every cop knows that. A female detective on high-risk search warrant gets perimeter duty. Huge liability in nearly every single time. Here's another message. Don't let the whiners tell you differently from your post regarding female cops. Now retired, 21 years as lieutenant. Not only were most women unable to protect themselves in attack situations, but they would also distract from the main mission, such as arresting a DV perpetrator and other cops having to shield or come to the aid of female cops who caught an elbow or something. Also, 2 female partnerships on patrol can go downhill very quickly for aggressive 911 calls. I will give NYC cops more credit, though, with tougher and even larger women that had to survive in aggressive neighborhoods growing up. However, you don't see those circumstances across the rest of the country. Look, I don't think that this is a negative thing about women. It's just they are not. And by the way, while I'm at it, gigantic fat people also shouldn't be cops. If you're 150 pounds overweight, you should be immediately suspended from the force until you get in shape or put on desk duty. We need cops that can handle these aggressive situations. And the whole story is just a microcosm of just how bad it is out there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.